Hello everyone, welcome to WebDev Warrior. In today's video, we're going to build an amazing web development agency website from scratch. We're going to use the latest version of Next.js, which is Next.js 16. We're also going to use TypeScript Tailwind CSS. We are going to implement the Dark Knight feature in this project, and also we're going to deploy this project in live server in GitHub and Versa. So first, let me show you a demo of this website. So if I reload the page, you can see we have animation in our project and we have this navigation section with the theme toggle button, and this theme toggle button will change our light mode to dark mode. I'm going to show you it later. Then we have this hero section with this type right effect, which looks amazing. Then we have these two button. And now if I start scrolling, you will see we have scroll animation. And this is our about section. Then we have scroll animation and we have the services section. And you can see we have this amazing 3D type hover effect here. And if I scroll further, the other card will show, and it's a scroll animation and you can see how amazing it looks. Then we have this white choose section. Then we have the pricing table with scroll animation. Then we have a client review slider where you can slide from left to right or right to left, and it has the auto sliding feature. So if you wait sometimes, you can see it will slide automatically. Then we have this booking section. Then we have this contact section. And finally, we have this beautiful footer. Then here we have a button. So if I click this button, it will go to the top. So it's the scroll to top button. So if I click here, it will go to the top, and initially it's hidden. But if I start scrolling, it will appear to the screen. Now let me show you the dark mode also here. So here we have a button. So if I click here, it will become the dark mode, and you can see how awesome it is. And one thing you can notice, we have this particle at the background which looks amazing and makes it professional. And in the dark mode, if I show you the dark mode version, here you can see in dark mode everything looks amazing, and we have all the hover effect and all of this pricing section, our slider, booking section, and our contact section and footer. Everything looks amazing in the dark mode also. And another most important feature is this website is fully responsive. So it's responsive in the mobile device, also in the iPad device. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, there's the iPhone. Here you can see we still have all the features and everything is in the mobile view. We have this menu icon. So if I click here, it will open a sidebar with the nav links, and you can see how smooth it is. So if I click here, first the overlay comes and then the main navigation, and it is closed also smoothly. So it's amazing. And if I start scrolling, you can see everything fit very nicely and it looks amazing. It feels like a mobile app, and we don't have any scroll bar here, so everything looks amazing. And we have our slider also, booking section, our contact section, and footer. And let's change the theme here. So it's the light theme and everything looks amazing. And then let me show you another device type, which is iPad. So in the iPad, we also have this sidebar and we have this hero page, and then our other page also fit perfectly in the iPad device. So our website is fully mobile responsive. So in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you everything from scratch, and how you can initialize a Next.js project, how you can structure your file, how Next.js routing works, how you can create reusable component, how you can work with third-party libraries to create awesome hover effect, and sliders, and finally I'm going to show you how you can deploy your project in live server to share the link to your potential client or add it to your resume. So there is a lot of things that you are going to learn in this project. So I encourage you to watch the full tutorial for better understanding. And the source code of this project and the starter file will be given in the description. You can check it out. And if you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section. And without wasting any time, let's start building this amazing web development agency website. Now we are going to set up our project. So first I'm going to create a folder inside my PC and I'm going to name it Web Agency YT, and then I'm going to open this with Visual Studio Code, and then I'm going to open a new terminal and close this AI agent, and here I'm going to use npx create next app at the rate latest, and then I'm going to add a dot slash so that all the packages are installed in this web agency YT folder. Then I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to press Y to proceed. And here you have three options. You can use the Next.js recommended default. You can reuse your previous setting, or you can customize your own. So I recommend it to use the Next.js default. So I'm going to hit enter. So this will install all the necessary package to initialize a Next.js project. So let's wait some time to complete the installation. The installation is completed, and here it generated a lot of files and folders. So we have this tsconfig, readme, post css, package json, package log json, next config. Here you can configure your Next.js. Then we have next nd, ESLint configuration, git init, the public folder, node module, and all of this. You do not need to do anything in this folder or files. Our main directory or folder is this app folder. So in the app folder, we have this fab icon. Then we have this global.css. Here you can add your global CSS styling. So here it has some previous code. So I'm going to delete this because we are going to start from scratch. And then we have this layout.tsx. Layout is the overall wrapper of our project. For example, here it rendered the children. So if I add a navbar, and then if I add a footer, then this navbar and footer will be attached to all the page that you are going to create in this project. That means the navbar is wrap our project. In the layout, you can also customize your font and metadata. We're going to do it little later. Then we have this page.tsx. This is the main page. When you go to the localhost 3000, this page appear to this screen. So I'm going to remove all of this, and then I'm going to use a shortcut RAFC to create a component boilerplate, and I'm going to name it homepage. So to use this shortcut, you need to install a extension. The extension you need to install is this one, ES7 plus React Redux React Native Snippet. By installing this, you can use this shortcut to create a component boilerplate. Now here I am going to add some Tailwind class name to check if our Tailwind is working or not. So I'm going to use text 7xl, and then I'm going to run our project using npm run dev and hit enter. Then open the browser and go to localhost 3000. Here you can see we have our homepage text with a large font size. That means our Tailwind is working. So I'm going to remove this because this is just for texting. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure our metadata and font. So let's go to the layout.tsx. So here we have some default fonts. I'm going to remove this, and here from the next font Google, so it already have the Google font, so we're going to use Rubik font from our Google font, and then I'm going to create a constant called font, and here I'm going to use Rubik and then call it and then pass some options. So first the font weight, so we're going to use 300, 400, 500, 700, we have missing 600, then 800, and finally then 900. Next we're going to pass the subspace, and then we're going to pass the lighting. That's it. And then I'm going to add it here. So font dot class name. That's it. So this will apply the Rubik font in our project. Next, we are going to configure this metadata. Metadata is very important for SEO purposes. So here we have the title and description. So I'm going to add some dummy title and description. You can use your own version. So here let's say web agency Next.js plus Tailwind CSS. And here I'm going to use something like a modern web agency website built with Next.js and styled with Tailwind CSS. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our homepage, and at the top you can see web agency, Next.js and Tailwind CSS. That means our metadata is working properly. Now if I inspect and if I zoom, so let's use the responsive, and if I zoom like 200%, and if I hover here, you can see it's a 16 pixel Rubik. That means our font is also applied properly. Now let's reset it. So our font and metadata is working now. Next, when we work in our project, we are going to need some of the icons. So for the icons, we are going to use a package which is React icons. So I'm going to install React icons now. So npm I React icon. If I hit enter, this will install the React icon package in our project. So it's completed. Now we have React icon in our project. Now for this project, we need to use some images. So first I'm going to create a folder inside my public, and I'm going to name it images. And here I'm going to copy some images, and don't worry, all of these images will be given in the starter file, and the starter file is in the description. So I'm going to copy it and paste it in our image folder. That's it. So we are going to use these images in our project. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to name it components, and here I'm going to create a helper folder and then a home folder, and inside this home folder I'm going to create a home.tsx, and then I'm going to use rfc to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this home in our home page. So here I'm going to use our home component, and then all the homepage related components such as the hero section, the slider, and all of this, we're going to add this in our home component. So that's how we're going to keep our pages file neat and clean. And here I'm going to add a class name and overflow hidden, because we do not want any overflow in our project. So now if I go to our project, here we just have the text home. So this is it for our setup. Now I'm going to teach you the basic routings in Next.js so that you can create more pages in your project. So first let's go to the page.tsx. So this is the main page. When you go to the localhost 3000, this page will appear. So if you go to the localhost 3000, then this page will appear to the screen. So it's already created for us. Now for example, if you want to create a page, localhost 3000 slash, let's say, about. Then if you want to create a nested route, localhost 3000 slash about slash team. Then let's say you want to create a dynamic page. So localhost 3000 slash about slash team slash, let's say, the member ID 1234 or something like that. So if you want to create this type of page, what you need to do? So first let's create this about page. So for that you need to go to the app folder, and here you need to create another folder with the same name. For example, we want to create the about page, so we want to give the name of the folder about. For example, if you want to create another page like the product page, you have to name it product. So we are creating an about page, so I'm going to name it about. And inside this you need to create a page.tsx, and it is very important, it have to be page.tsx, otherwise it will not work. Then I'm going to use rfc to create a component boilerplate. Let's say about page, and let's add a class name of text 7x. So now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I go to slash about, sorry, slash about, and hit enter, so you can see we are in the about page. Awesome, how easy it is to create another page. So this is our about page. So we have created this. Next, let's say we want to create a nested route like the about and then the page. So what we need to do is, we already have the about. So inside this folder, we're going to create another folder, and we're going to name it the team, because in the slash about we want slash team. That's why we're using team. And inside this, I'm going to copy this page.tsx and move it to this team. So now here, let's change this to team page, and let's make it team page. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so now we don't have the about page because we moved the page.tsx in our slash about slash team. If you want, you can keep the about page and also create a slash about slash team page. So now if I go to the slash team and hit enter, now you can see we are in the team page. Awesome. So it's a nested routing. So we have the about and then we have the team. Now let's go back to the localhost 3000. Next, let's say you want to create the dynamic route where you can receive the dynamic ID. For example, if you are creating a team page, let's say you want to show the individual member and you want to fetch the member using the ID. So in that type of case, you need to create dynamic pages. So in our about, then inside the team, we're going to create our dynamic page. So what we're going to do is, in the team, we're going to create a folder. But this time, we're going to use this third bracket syntax. And inside this, we are going to use ID or name the thing you are receiving for this page. So let's say we are receiving ID for the team member. So I'm going to use ID. Then inside this, I'm going to create a page.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and let's name it team member details, and let's add a class name here. So class name text 7xl. Now if I hit save, and if I go to our project, and if I go to localhost 3000 slash about slash team slash, let's say the ID is 1000. Now if I hit enter, now you can see we are in the team members details page. Awesome. Now one question that you have is how we can get this ID or how we can access this ID. So for that, we are going to receive params as a props, and then we need to convert this into a async function, because in Next.js the params is now a asynchronous operation. Then we're going to use const, let's say the ID, we will await params and then dot id. So it gives the TypeScript complaint, but we're not going to fix it because this is just a demo for the routing, not for the TypeScript, but we're going to use the TypeScript in our actual project. Then I'm going to teach you how you can receive pros with the TypeScript also. So this is our ID, and I'm going to add the ID here. Now I'm going to hit save. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our ID. Let's change this to this. Now here you can see it also changes. So you can receive the ID from your parents, and now you can use it to fetch your member details and show it in this page. Awesome. So this is the dynamic routing. Let's go back to our localhost 3000, and now we have implemented this about page, the nested theme page, and dynamic page. So now I'm going to delete this about because we do not need it. So it's deleted, and now you know how you can create a nested routing, dynamic routing, and other pages in Next.js. So this is it for our Next.js routing. Now we are going to configure our dark light feature. We are going to implement the feature now so that we can apply the dark light styling in our project. So to implement this dark light feature, we need to install a package, and the package we are going to install is Next Themes. If I search for Next Themes, so this is the package, and you can see it's a very popular package and it can handle our theme state properly. So I'm going to copy their npm script, and then I'm going to paste it here to install the Next Themes in our project. So it's installed successfully. Next, what I'm going to do is in our home, in our component, I'm going to create a HOC for higher order component function. And here I'm going to create a file called provider.tsx. And then here I'm going to create a component boilerplate provider. And here we are going to receive children as a props, and the children will be a type of React node. That's it. And here we're going to use theme provider from our next theme. So we're going to import theme provider from next theme, and we're going to wrap, and we're going to add the children inside this theme provider. That's it. Then in the theme provider, we're going to pass some properties. So first one is the attribute. So the attribute will be class. Then we're going to add a enable system. So we're going to enable our system, and the default theme will be the system theme. For example, if your system are in the dark mode, then the website will automatically render the dark version. If your system preference is light mode, then the website will be open in the light mode. This will be decided by the system. And then we're going to use a toggler so that user can toggle between the dark mode and the light mode. So this is our theme provider. Then we need to go to the layout.tsx, and here we're going to wrap our children with the provider. So I'm going to use the provider coming from our higher order function, and we're going to wrap this. So not here, it will be here. So we're going to wrap our children with the provider. That's it. Next, we need to configure the dark mode in our Tailwind also. So if you go to the Tailwind CSS website, so Tailwind CSS dark mode, and if you go to their website, then you can see for the custom dark light functionality, we need to copy this line of code. So I'm going to copy it from here, and I'm going to paste it in our global CSS. That's it. Next, we need to create a theme toggler. So whenever we click on this button, it will toggle between the dark mode and light mode. So to do that, we're going to create a helper component here, and I'm going to name it theme toggler dot tsx, and I'm going to use rfc to create a component boilerplate. And here, first I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this component into a client component. So in Next.js 16, all the components are by default server component, and in server component you cannot use hooks, it will give you an error. So to use the hooks, you need to convert your component into a client component. So we can convert a server component into a client component by using this use client directive. So now this component is a client component. Now we can use the hooks in this component and it will not give us any error. So here, first I'm going to create a state variable to const mounted and set mounted, and I'm going to use state and initially this one will be false. Then I'm going to import something from use theme. So this use theme will be coming from our next theme. So we're going to import the use theme from next theme, and we're going to call it, and we're going to import the theme from here. Then we're going to import the set theme function, and finally we're going to import the system theme. That's it. Then I'm going to hit save. Then I'm going to use a use effect hooks here, and I'm going to add a empty dependency array, and inside this I'm going to create a function called check mount check, and this function we're going to set our mounted to true, and then I'm going to call the mount check function. That's it. This will make sure that our project is running in the client environment. That's it. So then we're going to check if not mounted, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to return Now that's it. Next, I'm going to find out the current theme. So current theme, and then we're going to check the theme. If the theme is system, then system theme, otherwise the theme. That's it. So this will give us the current theme. Then here we're going to return a button, and this button have some class name. So first we have padding of 2, transition, so transition, then we have width of 10, height of 10, cursor pointer, bg wide, then rounded full, then we have flex. Flex will be in the column direction, item center, and justify center. That's it. And when we click on these buttons in the on click, we're going to run a function, and we're going to set the theme, and then we're going to check if the current theme is dark. If it is dark, we're going to change it to light, otherwise we'll change it to dark. That's it. So when we click on the button, if the current theme is dark, we're going to convert it to light. If it is light, then we are going to convert it to dark. That's it. Now inside this button, we are going to check if the current theme is dark, then in that case we are going to use some design, otherwise we will use other design. So first, if it is dark, then we're going to use a bi sun icon, and we're going to add some class name here, text black, width 7, height 7, cursor pointer. That's it. And then I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to change the icon from bi sun to bi moon. That's it. So this is our theme toggler, and in our actual project we are going to use it in our Navbar. So if I show you the deployed version, here this is the deployed version, so we are using it in our Navbar. For now, let's just add it in our home. So here let's add our theme toggler, and if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have the buttons. If I click here, you can see our theme changed to the dark mode, and the background is black now. So if I click again, so it's white now. That means we're toggling between the dark mode and light mode. So you can see it's easily changing its theme from dark mode to light mode. Awesome. So that means our dark mode and light mode are working perfectly. Another thing what we need to do here is go to your layout, and here we need to add a suppress hydration warning and hit enter. So our dark light functionality is working properly. We're going to add the theme toggler in our navbar. Now I'm going to remove it from here, and I'm going to use just home, and also remove it from here. And we are going to use this theme toggle in our navbar in this project. So for now, our dark light functionality is completed. Next, we're going to implement our navbar. So if I show you the navbar in our deployed version, here you can see we have some icons as a logo. Then we have this nav links, a button, and our theme toggler. And then we have this background with our hero section. So we're going to implement this section now. So first, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it navbar. Inside this, I'm going to first create a nav.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and I'm going to hit save. So this nav component will render our desktop navigation bar. Next, I'm going to create another file which is mobile nav.tsx. So this will render our sidebar, our mobile navigation bar. So I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to create another one, and I'm going to name it responsive nav.tsx, and this one will wrap our navbar and mobile number, also some responsive functionalities. So I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and here I'm going to render our nav and mobile nav. That's it. Then I'm going to add this responsive nav in our layout. So here, before the children, I'm going to add our responsive nav. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our nav, mobile nav, and the home text. So I'm going to remove this text from now because there will be actual content later. So in the mobile nav, let's remove this text also. So now if I hit save, now we just have our navbar or desktop navbar. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder in our root level, and I'm going to name it constant, and here I'm going to add our constant variables. So I'm going to use a file called constant.ts. So first here I'm going to export const, and we're going to export our nav links. So here you can add your other constant variable as a file, and you can export it from this constant. So our nav links, so here we will have an object, and in the object we have an id for one, then we have an URL. So I'm going to use a hash for now. You can use actual URL if you want, and then a label, and the first one is home, and then I'm going to copy it 6 more time because we have more. So I'm going to copy it, so copy it multiple times. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, that's it. Then the second one will have an id2 URL hash, and the label will be features, then id3, and the label will be services. Then we have id of 4, and here the label will be reviews. Then we have id of 5, and the label will be team. Then the id of 6, the label will be pricing. and finally id 7, and the label will be contact. So by doing this, you can easily remove one from here, or you can add one here. And when we implement the navbar, we're going to map through it, loop through it, so that we can use one styling for all these links. That will save us a lot of time and it will be more efficient. So this is our nav link. Now let's go to the component and then the navbar and nav.tsx. And here in the navbar, the first div have a class name of, we're going to use a transition all. So if I show you why we use the transition, here you can see initially our navbar doesn't have any background, but as it starts scrolling, it changes its background and it changes its background smoothly. So that's why I'm using this transition property here. Then we're going to use the duration of 200 millisecond. Then we have height will be 12 VH. Then set will be 100. This one will be fixed. Width will be full. That's it. Now inside this we have another div with class name of flex, items center, height full, justify between, and width will be 90%. In the Excel, width will be 80% and image will be auto. And then inside this we first have our logo. For the logo, I'm going to use some icons and text to create the logo. If you want, you can use any image if you want. So I'm using the icons and text to create a logo. So that's why I'm going to create a helper component here, and I'm going to name it logo.tsx, and I'm going to use C to create a component boilerplate. And here the first div have a class name of flex, item center, SpaceX2. Then inside this we have another div with class name of width 10, height 10, bg wide, rounded full, flex, item center, justify center, and flex will be in the column direction. Now inside this div we have an icon which is CG website. From our React icon we install is in our setup process, and this icon have a class name of width 6, height 6, text black. That's it. And then we have a h1 with the text WebDev, and this h1 has a class name of text excel. This one will be hidden, the text will be hidden in smaller device, and in small and large screen this one will be block. In medium screen this will be text to excel, text color white, font bold. Now if I hit save and let's go to the nav, and here we're going to use our logo component. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our logo with our text, but the text is white and the background is white, that's why we cannot see it. But in our deployed version this background will be replaced with this particle background. So what I'm going to do is, for now I'm going to add a dummy background here. So let's use bg black. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so you can see we have our WebDev text and our icon. Now we have the background and we can see our logo. Now let's go to our nav.tsx, and here after the logo we will have our nav links. So first I'm going to have a div with class name of hidden, because our desktop nav, especially this one, will be hidden in the mobile devices. And in the largest screen, we're going to show this. We want the items to be center. SpaceX will be 10. And then inside this, we're going to use our nav links constant, and we're going to import it from our constant, and we're going to map through it. We will get the individual link, and we're going to return a link component from our next link. And here we're going to pass the key. The key will be link dot id, and then we need to pass the href. Href will be link dot url, and then we're going to pass some class name of text white in the hover, text yellow 200, font semi-bold, transition all, and duration 200 millisecond. And then inside this link, we will have our link. We will have a p tag. So we have a p tag, and inside this we'll have link dot label. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our nav links with hover effect. Awesome. Next, after the nav links, we'll have buttons, and here we're going to first have a div with class name of flex items center, and SpaceX will be 4. That's it. And then inside this we have a tag, and the href will be hash, and then this a tag will have some class name, and this one will be box border relative z30 inline flex item center justify center with auto px8 py3 overflow hidden font bold text color white transition all duration 300 millisecond. Then we have background will be indigo 300, not 300. BG will be indigo 600. Then we have rounded MD cursor pointer. And then we have group ring offset will be 2. Then we have ring of 1. Then we have ring indigo 300. Then we have ring offset indigo 200, and in the hover we have ring offset, indigo 500. And we want the animation to ease and focus outline none. That's it. Now inside this A tag we have a span with class name of relative z20 flex item center text small, and then this span, inside this span we have the text create account. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our button with the hover effect, which looks amazing. Then we have the theme toggler. So after this button, so after the a tag, so this is the create account button, and after that we'll have a theme toggler, and here we're going to use our theme toggler, and then we have a burger menu. So here we're going to use a icon which is high burst 3 bottom right, and here we're going to use a class name of width 8 height 8 cursor pointer text white and enlarge screen hidden. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so now we have this theme toggler. So if I click here it will become black, and if I click here it will become white. Awesome. And our burger menu is hidden, but if I inspect and select a mobile device, and here you can see in the mobile device we have our burger icon and we have this dark light feature. Awesome. So we completed our desktop navigation bar. Next we're going to implement the scroll background change feature. So in the deployed version you can see if I start scrolling it's changed its background color, and in the dark mode we have different color. So now we are going to implement this. So for that, first I'm going to make our navbar a client component because we're going to use hooks here. So I'm going to convert this into a client component using use client, and then here I'm going to create a state variable and I'm going to name it navbg and set navbg, and I'm going to use state hooks, and initially this one will be false. Then I'm going to use a use effect hooks and an empty dependency array, and inside this I'm going to create a function called handler, and here I'm going to check if window dot scroll in the y direction. So if I scroll more than 90 pixels, then we're going to set our navbg to true. If our window dot scroll in the y is less than 90, then we're going to set our navbg to false again. That's it. Then we're going to use a window dot add event listener. We're going to listen for the scroll event, and we're going to use the handler. That's it. And when you add a event listener in the use effect, it's the best practice to use a cleanup function for the remove event listener. So here I'm going to return a function. So return, and I'm going to copy this line, and we're going to use this window dot remove event listener, and we're listening for the scroll event and call the handler. That's it. So this is our functionality. Next, in this div, we need to apply this styling based on the navbar. So we need to make it a dynamic block. So I'm going to use the third bracket and the template literal so that we can insert some condition and add dynamic styling here. So here I'm going to use navbg. So if the navbg is true, in that case we're going to use in the dark mode the bg will be gray 900. Otherwise, in the white or in the light mode, the bg will be blue 950, and we're going to use a shadow of md, and then we're going to use fixed. Otherwise, we are just using the fixed position. That's it. So now in the home, so remove this theme toggler, we do not need it. Here I'm going to add some height, so let's use 2000 pixel. And now if I go to our project, so now we have the scroll bar. So if I start scrolling, so we already have the background. So let's remove this permanent background from here. Now if I hit save, now you can see we don't have any background. Now if I start scrolling, so it's not working. Let's reload the page, and if I start scrolling, now you can see it's changing its background color, and you can see it smoothly changes background color when I start scrolling. And in the dark mode, if I start scrolling, it changes background color to another color. Awesome. So it's also working properly. So let's go to our project, let's go to the home, let's remove this extra height from here, and then go to the navbar. So we have completed the desktop navigation bar with the scroll effect also. Next, we're going to implement the sidebar, the mobile navigation bar. So before that, let me show you the mobile navigation bar. First, we're going to inspect our project, and we're going to select a mobile device. This is the mobile device, and if I inspect here, and here let's use 75%. So now if I click here, you can see first a black overlay come to the screen and then the actual sidebar, and when I close it, close smoothly. So now we need to implement this. So here let's use the 75%. So let's go to our mobile nav.tsx, and here inside this div we first have our overlay. So I'm going to use a div with class name of fixed inset will be 0, transform transition will be all, duration will be 500 millisecond, z will be 1002, bg will be black, opacity will be 70, width will be full, and height will be screen. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have the black overlay. Awesome. Next, we have the nav links. So here we have a div with class name of text white fixed justify center flex. Flex will be in the column direction, right? Full transform transition all duration will be 500 milliseconds, and here we're going to use a delay of 300 milliseconds because we want the overlay first come to the screen and then after some delay the actual sidebar. That's why we're using this delay. Width will be 80%. In smaller devices width will be 60%. BG will be blue 900 and space Y 6 and Z index will be 1050. That's it. Now inside this we're going to map through our nav links dot map. We'll get the individual link and then we're going to return a link component from our next link, and here we need to pass the key. The key will be link.id. Then we need to pass the href will be link.url, and then inside this we have a p tag with link.label. In this p tag we're going to add some class name of text white with fit text 20 pixel. Then we have margin left of 12, border bottom will be 1.5 pixel, padding bottom will 1, border white. Then in smaller devices text will be 30 pixel. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our sidebar. Awesome. Next we need the close icon here to close the navigation bar. So we need the close icon. Let's increase this. So let's go here. So after the nav link we will have the close icon. So here I'm going to use a CG close from React icons, and here we're going to add some class name. Absolute top will be 0.7 RAM, right will be 1.4 RAM, smaller devices with 8, smaller devices height 8, otherwise with 6, height 6. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our close icon. So by clicking this we are going to close our sidebar. So it looks exactly like this one. Next we need to implement the functionality here for the responsive design. So let's go to the responsive nav, and here we are going to convert this into a client component using use client, and then inside this I am going to create a state variable of show nav and set show nav, and I'm going to use state, and initially this one will be false. Then we're going to create a function called open nav handler, and this one will set our show nav to true, and then we're going to use another one close nav handler. This one will set show nav to false, That's it. Then we need to pass these props in our nav and mobile app. So first in the nav, we're going to pass open nav props. And in the open nav props, we're going to pass the open nav handler function. And then in the mobile nav, we're going to pass the show nav props, which is our variable show nav. And we're also going to pass the close nav props, which we're going to use this close nav handler. Now if you hover, you can see it will have some complaint because of the TypeScript. So what we need to do is we are sending these props, so we need to receive the props in our navbar and mobile nav with the actual type definition. So first let's go to the nav.tss. Here at the top, I'm going to create a type and I'm going to name it props. You can name it anything you want. You can name it nav props or you can just name it nav. So I'm using this props, and here in the props part we are receiving a open nav props. So what is the type of the open nav? So open nav is a function that returns void because our function doesn't return anything. So these are props. So here I'm going to pass our prop and I'm going to import the open nav. Now when we click on this burger menu, we're going to open our sidebar. So in the on click of this burger menu, we're going to call our open nav function. That's it. Next, we need to receive the props in our mobile app. So let's go to the top. In the same way, I'm going to create a type props, and here I am receiving a shown props, which is a type of boolean. If you remember, we are passing the shown here, and the shown is false or true. That means it's a boolean. Then we are receiving a close nav, which is a similar a function that returns void. Now I'm going to pass the props here and I'm going to import the close nav and show nav. And when we click on this close icon, so in the on click, I'm going to call the close nav. Now, based on the show nav, we're going to show our sidebar or we're going to hide our sidebar. So we need to add some condition here. So I'm going to create a const nav style. So let's say sidebar open close. So here we're going to check if our show nav, if it is true, then we're going to show. So translate x0. If it is not true, we're going to use translate x minus 100%. That's it. Now we need to insert this in the overlay as well as in this div. So we're going to convert this into a dynamic template literal format. So let's remove this double quote, and here I'm going to add our sidebar open close. We are going to do same for this one. So remove the double quote, double quotation mark, and here I'm going to add our sidebar open close. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I click here, you will see the navbar open perfectly. And if I click here, it will close perfectly. You can see the smooth opening and the smooth closing. And you can see the sidebar, the black overlay comes first and then the sidebar. So it looks awesome. So this is the desktop version navigation bar. We have this button, we have this theme toggler. In the light mode, the nav links are hidden, not hidden, but it have the same color like the white, that's why it's not seen. But when you apply the hero section, it will look good. So let's see this in the dark mode now. And if I inspect, so this is our sidebar. So everything looks perfect and works properly. So our sidebar is, and the navbar and sidebar both are completed. Next, we are going to build the hero section. So if I show you the hero section, Here you can see we have a typewrite effect heading, we have some subheading, and we have the button, and we have this particle background. And for the particle background, we are going to create it from scratch. We are not going to use any third-party library to create this particle. We are going to create it using JavaScript in our project. So let's start building this hero section. So first I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it hero. And inside this I'm going to create a hero.tsx, and then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add it in our home. Here I'm going to use our hero section. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our text hero. Now let's go to our hero.tsx, and here first I'm going to convert this into a client component using use client. That's it. And then inside this, first I'm going to create a canvas ref, and I'm going to use ref hook, and initially this one will be null, and the type of this use ref will be HTML canvas element. That's it. Then I'm going to create a use effect hooks, and I'm going to apply the empty dependency array here. So empty dependency array. Now inside this use effect, first I'm going to create a canvas, and I'm going to use canvas ref dot current. That's it. Then we're going to check if there is no canvas, then we're going to return. That's it. Then we're going to create a context, and here I'm going to use our canvas dot get context 2D. That's it. Then we're going to check if there is no context, we're going to return. That's it. Then we're going to use canvas dot width will be window dot inner width, and then canvas dot height will be windows dot inner height. That's it. Then we're going to create a const particles, and this one will be an array type, and this one will be array of object where we have x number, then we have y of number, then we have size number, then speed x will be type of number, then we have speed of y is a type of number, and then opacity is a type of number. That's it. And initially this one will be an empty array. Great. Next we're going to use a for loop. We're going to start it from I is equal to 0 and I is less than 100, and then I plus plus. Now inside this we're going to use particles dot push, and we're going to push the x will be math dot random and we're going to multiply it with our canvas dot width. Then we have y will be math dot random, and we're going to multiply it with canvas dot height. That's it. Then we have the size, and the size will be math dot random, and we're going to multiply it with 3, and we're going to add 1. That's it. And then speed x will be math dot random minus 0.5, and then we're going to multiply it with 0.5. That's it. Then speed of y will be math dot random. We're going to subtract 0.5 from it and multiply with 0.5. That's it. And then finally we have the opacity, and this one will be math dot random, and we're going to multiply it with 0.5, and we're going to add 0.2. That's it. Next, we're going to create a function. So after the for loop, we're going to create a function, and we're going to name it animate. And here we're going to check if we don't have the canvas or we don't have the context, then we're going to return. Next, we're going to use context dot clear rect, and we're going to pass 0, 0, canvas dot width, and then comma canvas dot height. That's it. Then we're going to use particles, and we're going to map to it using this for each function. We will get the individual particle, and then we're going to use context dot begin path. Then we're going to use context dot arc, and inside this we'll have the particle dot x, comma particle dot y, comma particle dot size, comma 0, comma math dot pi into 2. That's it. Next we have context dot fill style, and here we're going to use the template literal, and then RGBA 255, 255, 255. Then we're going to add our particle dot opacity. That's it. Then we're going to use ctx dot fill. That's it. Next, we're going to use particle dot x plus equal particle dot speedx, and then particle dot y plus equal particle dot speed y. Next, we're going to check if particle dot x is less than 0 or particle dot x is greater than canvas dot width. In that case, we are going to use particle dot speedx into equal -1, and I'm going to copy it, and then we're going to check if particle dot y is less than 0 and particle dot y is greater than canvas dot height. So this one will be if particle dot y is greater than canvas dot height, then we are going to use particle dot speed y into equal -1. That's it. Next, we are going to use request animation frame, and we are going to pass animate. That's it. And then we're going to call our animate function. That's it. Then we're going to use a handle size function, and here we're going to use canvas dot width is equal to window dot inner width, and then canvas dot height is equal to window dot inner height. That's it. Next, we're going to use window, and we're going to add event listener. We're going to listen for the resize event, and we're going to call our handle size. So this one will be handle resize. So let's make it handle resize. That's it. And we need to clean up our function, so I'm going to return, and then we're going to use window dot remove event listener, and we're going to listen for the same resize event, and we're going to call our handle resize. That's it. So here we have a mistake, so we implement all of this in our home, but this one will be inside our hero section. So I'm going to cut all of this from here, and I'm going to paste it in our hero section, and we're also going to import this line and add it here, and we can keep the use client because we are going to make it a client component later. So let's keep the use client here. So now let's go to the hero.tsx. So now we have our animation and the particle setting. Next, here the first div have a class name of relative mean height will be screen flex items center justify center overflow will be hidden. I'm going to hit save. Now inside this I'm going to use a canvas. This one will be a self-closing tag, and inside this the ref will be canvas ref, and we're going to apply some class name. We're going to use absolute inset 0 bg linear to br, then from blue 900 by purple 900, then to pink 900. In the dark mode, from gray 950 and dark by gray 900, then in the dark to gray 900. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so let's reload the page. So now you can see we have this beautiful particle background, and if I use the light mode, we have the same styling. So let's reload the page again. So we have the particle, but the dark light functionality is not working. I think we have some issue, I think. But you can see we have our particle, and you can see it looks amazing. The code is perfectly fine. We don't have any error or anything like that. The problem is sometimes the code doesn't work and we need to restart our project. So what I do is I just restart my server and it's now working. Sometimes it happens, so you just need to check by restarting your project. Now you can see our light mode and dark mode is working, and here you can see we have this gradient background in the light mode, and we have this dark background in the dark mode. Awesome. So the reason is we work with the canvas a lot here. That's why I think we need to restart the project so that the recent changes are affected in the project. So now our canvas and our particles works properly and perfectly. And you can see it looks amazing and professional. So next, after the canvas, I have a div with class name of relative. Z index will be 10, max width 7 pixel, mx auto, px will be 4, in smaller device px will be 6, in a large screen px will be 8, and text center. I'm going to hit save, and now inside this we have another div, and then inside this div we have another div with class name of inline flex. Then we have item center SpaceX2 busy white slash 10. Then we have backdrop black drop blur MD. Then px will be 6, py will be 3, rounded will be 4, margin bottom will be 8. I'm going to hit save, and then inside this we have a inside this div we have an icon which is gi spark plus, and here I'm going to add some class name of height 5 with 5, text yellow 400, that's it. And then we have a span, and the text will be welcome to WebDev warriors, and this span have a class name of text white font medium. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our welcome to WebDev warrior, and you can see it looks both good on the light mode and dark mode. Next we have this typewrite effect. So for the typewrite effect we're going to use a npm package. The package we're going to use is react type animation. So this is the package. So if I go to their npm package, so it's a very popular library to use the typewrite effect. So I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to install this package here. It's completed. Now after this step we'll have our typewrite text. So here I have h1 first, and this h1 have a class name of text for excel smaller devices, text 6xl in medium screen, text 7xl in a large screen, text 8xl, font will be bold, text will be white, and margin bottom will be 6. Now inside this I'm going to use our typewrite or type animation, and we're going to import it from React type animation, and here this one will be a self-closing tag, and here we're going to pass some props. So first is the sequence of text. This one will be an array. So first we are going to use we create magic, and then 2000. Then we're going to use we build brims, then 2000 milliseconds, that means 2 seconds. Then we design future, and here we're going to use 2000. That's it. Then after the sequence we're going to use the wrapper will be span, and then the speed will be 50, and then repeat will be infinity. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our type animation and it looks amazing. Let's check it on the dark mode. You can see it looks amazing in both light and dark mode. So we have our type animation, but here it stopped. Let's reload the page. So it's changing and it's working perfectly. Let's go to the dark mode. So in dark mode it works perfectly. So this is our type animation. Next we have this subheading, or you can say the description. So I'm going to copy the text from here, and then after the type right we have our description. So I'm going to use a p tag with the text, and this p tag have a class name of text base smaller device, text excel, text gray 200, margin bottom will be 12, max with 3xl, mx will be auto, leading will be relaxed. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we have our subheading, which looks amazing. Next we have these two buttons. So after the p tag we have our buttons. So here we have a div, and this div have a class name of flex. Flex will be in the column direction, smaller device. Flex will be in the row direction, gap 4, justify center. And then inside this we're going to use a link from next link, and this one will be a self-closing link, and the link have a href, and for the href we're going to use hash for now, and then the link have some class name of group inline. So inline flex items center, justify center, space x2, bg white, in the dark bg will be white, and then text will be gray 900, in the dark text will be gray 900, px8, py4, rounded full, font semi-bold. Then we have hover bg blue 500, in the hover text wide, transition all, duration 300 millisecond, transform, and then hover k 105, shadow lg, in the hover shadow 2xl. Now I'm going to hit Then inside this link, we have a span with the text get started. Then we have a BS arrow right, and this arrow has some class name height 5 width 5. Then we have group over translate x 1 and transition transfer. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our button with this hover effect, just like this one, and it looks awesome. Next we have another button for the contact us. So after this link, we have another link, and this link, the href, I'm going to use hash, and this link has some class name of inline flex. Then items center, justify center, space x2, bg will be transparent, border will be 2, border white, text white, px8, py4 rounded full, font semi-bold, then hover bg white, in hover text gray 900, transition all, duration 300 millisecond, and transform in the hover scale 105. That's it. Now inside this link we have a span with the text contact. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our contact us button and get started button. Awesome, it looks exactly like this one. Next we have this animated thing. So after this link and after completing everything, we have the animated mouse, you can say here, or animated scroll indication. So here we have a div with class name of absolute, bottom will be 10, then left will be half, transform minus translate x half, animate bounce. That's it. Now inside this we have another div with class name of width 6, height 10, border will be 2, border white, rounded full, flex, items start, justify center, padding 2. Now inside this we have another div with class name of width 1, height 3, busy wide, and rounded 4. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have, but it doesn't look exactly the same. Let's check. So here we have border 2. So now if I hit save, now it looks exactly like this one. Awesome. So this is our hero section. Let's check it in the dark mode. You can see in dark mode it also looks amazing. Let's check it on the responsive view. So in the mobile view you can see everything fit perfectly. We have our sidebar and the typing effect also working. We have the button properly aligned. And let's check this on the iPad. So in the iPad you can see it also fit perfectly. It looks amazing. We have the dark mode and light mode, and we have everything aligned properly. So our hero section is completed. Next, we are going to build the about section. So if I show you the about section, here you can see we have an image and the about text. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it about. And inside this, I'm going to create a about.tsx, and then I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our homes. After the hero, we'll have our about section. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have the about text. Now let's go to the about.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of padding. In top and bottom will be 24. In the dark mode the background will be gray 950. Now inside this div we have another div with class name of with 80% mx auto. We're going to use grid calls will be 1. Then in a larger screen grid calls will be 2. Then items will be center and gap will be 16. Now inside this we have first the image content. Image content. So this div is for the image content, and then we have our text content. So this div is for the text content. Now inside this image content div, we're going to use an image component from our next image, and here we're going to use the source. The source will be slash images slash a1.png, and then the alt will be img. Then we're going to use the width will be 500 and the height will be 500. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our image. Awesome. Now let's go to our code. Now we're going to start with the text content. So inside this div we have h1 with the text about us. This h1 will have a class name of text purple 800. Then in the dark mode text will be purple 600, font medium. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have the text about us just like this one. Next we have this heading, so I'm going to copy it from here And then after the h1 we have our heading. Let's use this as a subheading, and here we have h1 with our heading, and this h1 will have a class name of, so class name of text 3xl. Small and large screen text will be 4xl. Medium and large screen text will be 5xl, and large screen text will be 6xl. Font will be bold, text black. In the dark mode, text will be white, and margin top 2. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our heading just like this one. Next we have these two paragraphs with the same text, so I'm going to copy it from here, and then I'm going to use a p text. So this is the description, so p tag with the text, and this p tag have a class name of text, so grade 500. In the dark, text will be grade 200, text base, and leading will be 8, and margin top 8. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so this is our one description. We have another one, so I'm going to copy it again. Now if I hit save, so now we have this second one, and here we're going to use the margin top of 4. So now if I hit save, now it looks exactly like this one. Awesome. Next we have the stats section. So after the p, we'll have our stats. So here first we have a div with class name of margin top of 10. Then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex item center justify between. Then inside this div we have another div with h1 of the stat. First one is 53k, and then we have a p tag with the text, so layout done. Now this h1 have a class name of text 3xl, in medium screen text 4xl, in large screen text 6xl, font bold, text pink 700. That's it. And for the p tag, this one will have a class name of text center, text extra small, text will be extra small. In smaller devices, text will be small. In medium screen, text will be base, font medium, and text gray 500. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have 53k layout done, just like this one. Next we have this two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this two more time. And then for the second one, we're going to use 10k, and the text here will be project done. Then the third one will be 120, and this text will be get awards. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our projects, now you can see we have our stats and everything looks amazing, exactly like this one. Let's take this in the dark mode. So you can see in dark mode it also looks exactly like this one and looks amazing. We have different background and the colors are perfectly fine here. So our dark mode is also good. Next, let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fits perfectly. Everything looks amazing. Let's check this in the iPad. So in the iPad you can see it also looks amazing. So our about us section is completed. Next, we're going to implement the services section. So if I show you the services section, here you can see we have section heading and we have this service card with this 3D type amazing hover effect. So now we are going to build this section. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home and I'm going to name it services. Then inside this, I'm going to create a services.tsx and I'm going to use array C to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add it in our home. So after the above, I'm going to add our service. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have the text services. So now let's go to the services.tsx, and here the first div have a class name of padding y will be 20, bg will be hash eff 363f6. That's it. In the dark, the BG will be gray 900. That's it. Now, inside this div, we have another div, and first we have a H1 with the text our services. This H1 will have a class name of text red 500. In the dark, text will be red 300. Font will be medium. Text center. And now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have the text our services, then we have this title. So I'm going to copy this text from here, and then after this h1 we have another h1 with our title. This h1 have a class name of text center, text 3xl in medium screen, text 4xl in a larger screen, text 5xl, text gray 900. Then we have in the dark mode text gray 100. Then we have margin top of 4, font bold, tracking, width, and that's it. If I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our title, just like this one. Next we have this service card. So here after this div we have our service cards, and here I have a div with class name of with 80%, mx will be auto, magenta will be 16, grid calls will be 1, and in medium screen grid calls will be 2, in a large screen grid calls will be 3, and gap will be 10. Now inside this div we have another div. Now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate component for our service card so that we can reuse the service card component as much as we want. So here I'm going to create a service card.css, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. And here inside this div, I'm going to use our service card. Now in the service card, we're going to pass some props. So first one is the title, and here we're going to use design and develop, and we are also going to pass the image, the icon image, and this one will be slash images slash s1.png. So we have five more. So I'm going to copy it 5 more times, and then this one will be s2, s3, s4, s5, and s6. For the second title will be account setting. So this one will be account settings. Then we have notification manage, notification manage. Then we have customer support, customer support. Then we have email marketing, email marketing. And then finally we have digital agency, digital agency. So now we have to receive these props in our service card and give them the proper type definition. So let's go to the service card, and here at the top I'm going to use type props. We are receiving an icon of type string, and also we're receiving a title of type string. And here I'm going to pass our props, and I'm going to import the icon and title. That's it. Now here for this 3D type hover effect that you see here, to implement this we are going to use a npm package, and the package we're going to use is called react parallax tilt. So this is the package that we are going to use, and it is a very popular package to create this type of parallax 3D type effect. So I'm going to copy their installation command, and I'm going to paste it here to install the package. And if you want, you can run more about this package. So first I'm going to import this tilt. So copy this and paste it here, and we also need to make this component a client component. So I'm going to use client to convert this into a client component, and the package is installed successfully. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tilt, and then this tilt we're going to pass some class name. bg will be white. In the dark mode, bg will be gray 800, and rounded lg, and padding will be 4. That's it. Then inside this we have a div with class name of width 12, height 20, 20, width 20, height 20, text color white, bg blue 100, rounded full, ms auto, magenta 5, shadow md. Then we have flex will be in the column direction. Then we have item center, and finally justify center. Then inside this div we're going to use our image component, which is coming from our next image, and here we're going to use the source will be icon, alt will be icon, and then the width 40 and height 40. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and here you can see we have our icon, and if I hover you can see we already have the hover effect, and you can see how easy it is to implement this 3D type hover effect using this package. So it makes our website, our landing page more professional and attractive. Awesome. Next, after the image, we have h1 with the title, and here I'm going to add some class name of text center. Then we have margin top of 4, text will be large, font semi bold, then text gray 800, in the dark mode text gray 100, and if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our title. Awesome. Then we have this description, so I'm going to copy this description text from here, and then after the h1 we had a p tag with the description, and then this p tag have some class name, so we're going to use text center, then text will be small, margin top will be 2, leading 6, text gray 400, then in the dark we have text gray 300, and padding will be 4. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our subheading, or you can say the description. Next we have this learn more button, so let's go here. So after the p tag we have a div with class name of text center, mx auto, justify center, flex, item center, space x1, margin bottom 4, text gray 800, in the dark mode text gray 100, margin top of 4, font semi bold, cursor pointer, in the hover text rate 400, transition all, duration 200 milliseconds, and then inside this we have a span with the text learn more, and then we're going to use the icon effect, arrow right, and now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our learn more button, and our services section looks amazing. We have our hover effect. Let's check this on the dark mode. So if I make it dark, you can see in dark mode it also looks amazing. The background change and everything looks neat and clean. Let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device everything fit perfectly. And let's check it on the iPad device. In iPad it also fit perfectly, so it looks awesome. So our services section is completed. Next we are going to build the why choose section. So if I show you the why choose section, here you can see we have an image, then we have some text and some listing. So to build it, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it y choose, and inside this I'm going to create a y choose.css, and then I'm going to use rfc to create a component boilerplate. Now here I'm going to add a class name of padding y of 20, and then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the service, we're going to add our y choose section. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our text y choose. Now let's go to the y choose.tsx, and here inside this div we have another div with class name of with 80% image auto grid calls 1 in largest screen, grid calls will be 2, then gap will be 10, items will be center. Now inside this div we have passed text content, so this div is for the text content, and then we have image content, so this div is for the image content. Now first let's start with the text content. So inside this first we have h1 with the text y choose. This h1 have a class name of text to excel, not to excel. This h1 will have a text rate 500, and in the dark mode text rate 300, and font medium. And now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have the text y choose just like this one. Next we have this heading, so I'm going to copy it from here, and then after the h1 we have another h1 for our heading. This h1 will have a class name of text to excel in medium screen, text for excel in large screen, text 5 excel, leading will be 8 in medium screen, leading will be 12 in large screen, leading will be 14, text will be gray 900, and in the dark mode text will be gray 100. That's it. And then margin top will be 4, font bold, tracking width. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our heading specialized in evading clients on financial challenges, just like this one. Next we have this subheading or description. So I'm going to copy it from here. I'm going to use a p tag with our this description, and this p tag have a class name of margin top of 4, text gray 500, then in the dark mode text gray 300, then leading will be 7. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our subheadings or description. Next we have this listing. So after this p tag we have a div with class name of margin top of 8, and inside this div we have another div with class name of flex item center space 6 and margin bottom 10. That's it. Then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex items will be center, then justify center, flex will be in the column direction, width 18, height 18, rounded full, bg red 600, in the dark bg pink 500. That's it. Now inside this div we'll have an icon which is fa rocket icon from React icon, and this icon has some class name of text wide width 6 height 6. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our circle or listing which looks amazing. Next, after this div we have another div, and this div have a class name of flex1. Then inside this div we have a h1 with the text. So first one is first working process, and this h1 have a class name of text lg font semi bold text gray 800, in the dark mode text gray 200. That's it. Then after this h1 we have a p tag. The text I'm going to copy it from here, so copy this and paste it here, and this p tag have a class name of magenta of 2 text gray 500. Then in the dark mode text gray 300, and then we have reading of 6 in a larger screen with 85%. And now if we hit save and go to our project, so now it looks amazing, awesome. Next we have two more. So this is our first one. So this is the first list item. So I'm going to copy it, and this is the second list item, and here we're going to change something. So for the second one we're going to use bg blue 600, and here bg in the dark mode bg indigo 400. That's it. And we're going to change the title here. This title will be dedicated team. This is our second one, so I'm going to copy it one more time. This is the third list item, and here we're going to use the background as bg green 600, and this one will be bg yellow 400, and the title here will be 24/7 hours support. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our items, but we forgot to change the icon. So for the second one we are going to use the hammer icon. So this one will be fa hammer, and for the third one we are going to use bi support. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so now we have this hammer and this support icon just like this one. Awesome, it looks amazing. Next we have this image. So let's go to our project. So these are image div, and inside this div we're going to add a image component from our next image, and then we're going to use a source, and the source will be slash images slash wc dot png. Then the auth will be image, and then we have width of 1000, height of 1000. If I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our image which looks amazing. Our overall section looks exactly like this one. Let's check this on the dark mode. So in the dark mode you can see everything and it looks perfect. Let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect, and if I select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device everything fit perfectly. Let's check this on the iPad device. So in the iPad it also fit perfectly. So our why choose section is completed. Next we are going to build the pricing section. So if I show you the pricing section, here you can see we have the section heading and we have this pricing card. So to build this section we're going to create a new folder inside our home, and I'm going to name it price, and inside this I'm going to create a price.tsx, and then I'm going to use rfc to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our home. So after the white choose I'm going to add our price. That's it. Now if I go to our project, here you can see we have our text price. Now let's go to the price.tsx, and in the first div we have a class name of py of 20, bg of hash, eff 3, f6. Then in the dark mode we have bg gray of 900. That's it. Now inside this div we have the section heading. So if I show you, this is the section heading which is exactly like this one, the service section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the service section heading from here. So this is the heading. If you want you can create a separate component for this heading so that you can reuse it, but for now I'm just copying it from here. And then in the price section I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to change the content here. So for the h1 we're going to use pricing table, and for the heading we're going to use, let's say, live chat 24/7 support. Now if I hit save and go to our project, here you can see we have our heading which looks exactly like this one. Next after this we have another div with class name of with 80%, margin top of 16, mx auto, then grid calls 1, in medium screen grid calls 2, in large screen grid calls 3, in extra large grid calls 4, gap 10, and items center. And then inside this we have our price card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate component for the price card so that we can reuse it. So here I'm going to create a price card.css and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then here I'm going to use a div, and inside this div I'm going to use my price card. That's it. We're going to pass some props here. So first one is the price. So for the first one the price is $20, and we're going to pass the title. So for the first one the title is optimized and SEO. So we have three more. So I'm going to copy this div three more time. For the second one the price is 50 and the title here will be designing. Then the third one the price will be 60 and the title will be development. Then the price will be 80 and the title will be supporting. That's it. Now we have to receive these props and give them the proper type definition. So let's go to the price curve.css. Here at the top we're receiving a type prop. We're receiving the title, which is type of string. We're receiving a price, which is type of string, and we're going to pass the prop here, and we're going to import the price and title. That's it. Now here the first div have a class name of bg white. After the bg white, in the dark mode we have a bg of gray 800 rounded lg, and padding will be 4. Now inside this div we have h1 with our title, and this h1 have a class name of textxl font semi bold. Then we have text gray 800. In the dark mode text gray 200. Then margin top 4, text will be center, and tracking will be wider. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our pricing card and we have our title, just like this one. Then after this h1 we have a p tag with the text monthly package. This p tag have a class name of margin top of 4, text gray 500. In the dark mode we have text gray 300, margin bottom 6, text center, and that's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have the monthly package text just like this one. Then after the p tag we have a h1 with the class name of font bold, text center. And then we have text gray 900. In the dark mode we have text gray 100, And then inside this h1 we have a span with this dollar sign and the price. This span have a class name of text 5xl, and then after the span we have slash month. Now if I hit save and go to our project, there you can see we have $20 per month, $50 per month, $60 and $80, just like this one. Next we have this listing. So after this h1 we have a div with class name of space y will be 4, text small, text gray 500, then tracking will be wider, and then we have text center, and then we have the dark mode, text will be gray 100. That's it. Then inside this we have 4 p tag, and we're going to add these features. I'm going to copy all of these and I'm going to paste it here. So this is the first one, so I'm going to cut it and paste it here. Then this is the second one, and then this is the third one, and this is the final one. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our features just like this one. Next we have this get started button. So after this div we have another div with class name of margin top of 6, margin bottom of 6, text center, and inside this div we have a button, and the button text will be get started, and this button have a class name of tx8 py3 bg ping 500. Then in the hover bg ping 700, text wide, font semi-bold, cursor pointer, rounded full, transition all, and duration will be 200 milliseconds. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our button and it looks exactly like this one, and we have the hover effect. So our this pricing section looks amazing. Let's check it on the dark mode. So you can see in dark mode it also looks amazing. Let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and select a mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly. Let's check this in the iPad device, and in the iPad it also fit perfectly. So our pricing section is completed. Next we're going to build the client review slider. So if I show you the client review slider, here you can see we have section headings, and then we have this beautiful slider where you can slide from left to right or right to left, and the slider also have a auto sliding feature. If you wait some time, you will see that it slides automatically. So now we are going to implement this section. So for this I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it client review, and inside this I'm going to create a client review.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our home. After the price I'm going to add our client review. That's it. Now if I go to our project Here you can see we have our text client review. Now let's go to the client review.tsx, and here first what I'm going to do is we need some user data for this. So I'm going to copy some dummy and static user data here. If you want, you can create one using ChatGPT, or you can use your own data, user review data. So let me paste the user data that we are going to use here. So I'm going to paste the data here. So this is the data that we are going to use. We have for data. So it's a user review data array that contains some object, and the object contains an ID, a name, a profession, a user image URL, and then the review text. So if you want, you can create one on your own, or you can use ChatGPT to create a dummy data for it. So we are going to use this review data here for our project. Now here the first div have a class name of py of 20. Then inside this div we have another div with class name of with 80% in its auto, and then inside this we have another div, and then inside this div we have a h1 with the text client reviews, and this h1 will have a class name of text rate 500, and in the dark mode we have text rate 300 and font medium. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have the text client review. Then after this h1 we have another h1 with the text. So I'm going to copy this text from here, so don't just take our words for it. So copy it and paste it here. Now this h1 will have a class name of text3xl, in medium screen text4xl, in larger screen text5xl, text gray 900. Then in the dark mode we have text gray 100, margin top 4. Then we have font bold and tracking width. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our heading just like this one. Awesome. So let's remove this. Next, after this div we have another div, and this div have a class name of margin top of 40. Now inside this div we are going to implement our carousel, our slider. So for the slider we are going to use a npm package, and the package we are going to use is react multi carousel. This is a very popular library to create the carousel in Next.js or React project. So if I go to their npm, you can see they have a very high number of weekly download, and here you can see their demo, and if you want you can learn more about by reading their documentation. So I'm going to copy their installation command, and I'm going to paste it here to install the package. And then what we need to do is we need to import these two lines, the carousel and the styling. So I'm going to copy it and paste it at the top, and also I'm going to convert this into a client component, because we need to create this component, a client component, to work with the carousel. So I'm going to use client, and then what we need to do is here we need this responsive variable to make our carousel responsive. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it here not here. We're going to paste it inside our component, and here we are going to change some parameters here. So index of the breakpoint, the maximum will be 3000 and the minimum will be 1324, and we're going to show 3 items, and we want one item to slide at a time. For the tablet, the max will be 1324 and the min will be 764. Here we are going to show 2 items and we want one item to slide at a time. And for the mobile, the max will be 764 and min will be 0. Items will be 0 and we want one item to slide at a time. That's why slides to slide will be 1. That's it. So these are responsive variable. Then here, if you go to the documentation, you can see we need to use this carousel with this a lot of different types of configuration that you can do with this carousel. So I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to paste it here. So here I'm not going to use all of this. I'm going to use some of this configuration. So first, we do not need the sweepable, the draggable, and I'm not going to show the dots. So I'm going to also remove this. Then the responsive will be the responsive variable that we created here. So we are going to pass it. We do not need the assessor. The infinity will be true because we want it to infinite. The autoplay will be true. So I'm going to remove all of this and make it true. And autoplay speed will be 5000 milliseconds. That means 5 seconds. We do not need the keyboard control and we do not need any of this. So I'm going to remove this. So we need the arrow. So the arrow, we're going to make it true. So we need the arrow, we need the responsiveness, autoplay speed, and all of this. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we already have our slider and it's sliding. So here we have this extra semicolon. So remove this semicolon. And now if I go to our project, here you can see we can slide from left to right or right to left. And if I wait 5 seconds, you can see it will slide automatically. Here it is. It slide automatically. So our slider also working. Next, what I'm going to do is for the slide card. So if I show you this review card, we're going to create a separate component for this so that we can reuse it. So let's go to our project. So here I'm going to create a separate component and I'm going to name it client review card.css and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate. So this is our client review card. Now let's go to the client review and here we are not going to use this div. So I'm going to remove all of this and we are going to use the user review data. We're going to map through it. We'll get the individual user and we're going to return a div, and here the key will be user dot id, and inside this div we're going to use our client review card here, and we're also going to pass our user as user. Now we need to receive the props and give them the proper type definition in our client review. One trick that you can use is if you hover here, you can see it will give you the type. So the user is a type of object that contains id of number, name of string, profession of string, user image as string, and review as string. So what you can do is you can copy this from here or you can manually do this. So I'm going to copy it, and in the client review and the top I'm going to use the type props and I'm going to paste it here. So the props will be the user, that is an object that contains id, name, profession, user image, and review, id of type number, name of type string, profession string, user image string, and review string. And now I'm going to pass it here as a prop, and I'm going to import the user. That's it. So now here the first div have a class name of bggray100, and rounded will be lg, margin will be 3, padding 6, and relative. That's it. And inside this we'll first use a fa quotation quote write icon, and this icon will have a class name of width 8, height 8, absolute, and then top 4, right 4, text rate 600, and opacity 20. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our this quotation mark. Awesome. Now let's go to our project. So after the quotation, we have a div with class name of margin top of 6, flex, items will be center, and then inside this div we have a fa star icon from React icon, and I'm going to add some class name of width 4, height 4, and text yellow 600. That's it. And we have 5 of these. I'm going to copy it 4 more time, and if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our review star, just like this one. Next, after this step, we have a p tag with our user dot review, and this p tag have a class name of margin top of 6, text base, text gray 600, then opacity 10, sorry, the not the opacity 10, so margin top of 6, text base, so here this one will be text base, and text gray will be 600, and font bold. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our user review just like this one. Next we have this line. So after the p tag we have a div with class name of width full, height will be 1.2 pixel, bg gray 600, opacity 10, margin top 6, margin bottom 6. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our line just like this one. Next we have the user information. So after this div we have another div with class name of flex item center and SpaceX 4. Now inside this div we're going to use the image from next image, and then the source will be the user dot image, user image, the alt, let's say image, the width 50, height 50, class name will be rounded full. That's it. So now if I go to our project, so here we have our user image. Awesome. Then after the image, we have another div, and here we have h1 with the username, and then another p tag with user.profession. Now the h1 have a class name of font bold text gray 800, and for the p tag we have a class name of text small text gray 500. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our user information. Now our slider looks amazing. We can slide from left to right or right to left. We also have the auto sliding feature. Let's check this on the dark mode. So in the dark mode, it also looks amazing. If you want, you can change the background color here. You can change it from white to another color, but I keep it white here. So let's see it here. So it looks exactly like this one. Let's check in the responsiveness. So let's select a mobile device. So in the mobile device, you can see it fit perfectly and it looks great. Let's check this in the iPad device. In iPad, it also fit perfectly and looks amazing. So our client review section is completed. Next, let's build the order sections. If I show you the order sections, so here we have simple text and heading and a book now button. So now we are going to implement this. So to implement this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it order, and inside this I'm going to create a order.tsx, and then I'm going to use rafc to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our homes. After the client review, I'm going to add my order. Now if I go to our project, so here we have our order. Now let's go to the order.tsx, and here at the first div I'm going to add a class name of py20. bg will be hash eff3f6. Then we're going to add a background, a dark background. For the dark mode, we are going to add a bg gray 900. I'm going to hit save. Then inside this div, we have another div, and here first I have a h1 with the text booking, and here this h1 have a class name of text red 500, and in the dark mode text red 300, and font semi bold and text center. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our text booking, and next we have this heading. So I'm going to copy this text from here, and then after this h1 we have another h1 with this text, and this h1 have a class name of text center, text 3xl in medium screen, text 4xl in larger screen, text 5xl, text gray 900, in the dark mode text gray 100, and margin top 4, font bold, tracking width. And now if I hit save, here we can see that we have our heading just like this one. Next we have this text. I'm going to copy this from here, and then after this div we have a p tag with this text, and this p tag have a class name of margin top of 6, text gray 500. In the dark mode we have text gray 300, leading will be 8. Then we have text center. Then we have smaller devices which will be 80%, larger screen which will be 60%, and MX auto. If I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our text just like this one. Next we have this book now button. So after the p tag we have a div with class name of text center, margin top will be 10, and inside this div we have a button with the text book now, and this button have a class name, and the class name will be text wide rounded full px14 py4 cursor pointer bg ping 600 in the hover bg ping 700 transition all and duration 200 milliseconds. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our book now button and it looks amazing. Let's check this on the dark mode. So you can see in the dark mode it also looks amazing. And let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect, and in the mobile device, you can see in mobile device it fit perfectly. Let's check it on the iPad device. In iPad it also fit perfectly. So our booking section is completed. Next we are going to build the contact section. So if I show you the contact section, here you can see we have an image and some text box and a submit button. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it contact, and inside this I'm going to create a contact.css, and I'm going to use RFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add it in our home. So here I'm going to add our contact and hit save, and if I go to our project, here you can see we have our text contact. Now let's go to the contact.tsx, and the first div have a class name of padding y of 20. Then if I show you this section heading, it exactly like this pricing section heading. So I'm going to copy it. So as I said earlier, you can create its own component, but I'm just copying here. So let's go to the services.tsx and let's copy this, and inside this I'm going to paste it and change the text. So here this one will be our contact information, and here will be join our workplaces around the world. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have our heading and this subheading. Awesome. Next, after this div, we have another div with class name of width 90%, in medium screen with 80%, and larger screen with 70%. MX auto. Then inside this we have an image from next image, and then the source will be slash images slash map.png. The alt tag will be map. The width will be 900. Height will be 900. Class name image auto magenta 16. That's it. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here you can see we have this map image. Awesome. Next, after this image, we have another div, and this div have a class name of margin top 16. Then inside this div, we have a h1 with the text send message. This h1 have a class name of text xl font semi bold. If I hit save and go to our project, so here we have this send message just like this one. Next, after this h1, we have another div with class name of grid. Then we have grid calls of 1 in medium screen, grid calls of 2 in larger screen. We have grid calls of 3, and then we have gap of 4 and margin top of 8. That's it. Now inside this div we have an input, and the input type will be email, and then the placeholder will be your email, and then the class name will be border 2, border will be gray 200, px4, outline none, py3, and rounded full. That's it. Now if I go to our project, so here we have our email just like this one. We have two more, so I'm going to copy this input two more time. The second one will be a type of text, and the placeholder will be phone number, and then the third one is type of text, and the placeholder will be website. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have email, phone number, and website. Then we have this text area. So let's completing this step. After this step, we'll have a text area, and in the text area we don't need the name and ID. Here the rows will be 9, and then we have some class name of margin top of 10 with a full border will be 2, outline none. Then we have border gray of 200, px4, py3, rounded ld. Now if I hit save, and we need to add a placeholder, let's add a placeholder. The placeholder will be your message here. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our text area which looks exactly like this one. Awesome. Next we have this button, submit now button. So after the text area, we have a button with the text submit now, and this button have some class name, margin top of 10, text white, rounded full, px will be 14, py will be 4, cursor pointer, bg ping 600, in the hover bg ping 700, transition all, duration 200 milliseconds. If I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our submit now button. So now we have this section heading, image, and this input box, which looks exactly like this one. Let's check the dark mode. So in the dark mode, it also looks fine. So we have our button and we have our input box. Now let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and select a mobile device, so in the mobile device, you can see it fit perfectly. Let's check on the iPad device. So in the iPad, it also fit perfectly. So our contact section is completed. Next, we are going to build the footer section. So if I show you the footer section, here you can see we have the four part of the footer section. First, we have this simple logo, description, and social icon, then addresses, more services, and newsletter. So now we are going to implement our footer. So for that, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home, and I'm going to name it footer, and inside this I'm going to create a footer.tsx, and then I'm going to use rfc to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our layout. So after the children, I'm going to add our footer. That's it. So now let's go to the footer.tsx, and if I go to our project, here we will have our footer text. Now here in the footer, the first div have a class name of padding top of 16, padding bottom of 16, bg blue 950, and in the dark mode bg gray of 900. That's it. Then inside this div we have our top part, and here we have a div with class name of with 80% image auto grid items start grid calls 1 in smaller device, grid calls 2 in medium screen, grid calls 2 in larger screen, grid calls 4, and gap will be 10. That's it. Now inside this div we have the first part, and here we have a div, and first we have the logo. So here we're going to reuse our logo component from our helper. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our logo just like this one. Now I'm going to copy this text from here, and then after the logo we have the description. So I'm going to use a p tag with the description, and this p tag have a class name of margin top of 6, text small, text gray 300, then we have leading 6, and font semi-bold. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our subheading just like this one. Next, we have this socials icon. So after the p tag, we have social links, and here we have a div with class name of flex, item center, space x4, space x4, margin top of 6. Now inside this div, first we have the Facebook icon, and here we have a div with class name of width 12, height 12, bg gray 700, rounded lg, flex, item center, justify center, flex will be in the column direction, cursor pointer, in the hover the bg will be blue 600, transition all, duration 300 milliseconds. That's it. Now inside this div we will have our fa Facebook icon, Facebook F icon from React icon, and this icon have a class name of width 6, height 6, text 20. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our Facebook icon. Awesome. So after the Facebook icon, we have YouTube icon. YouTube icon. So I'm going to copy it, and here I'm going to change it to FA YouTube, and then I'm going to change it to BG Blue 600 to BG Red 600. And then we have another one for the Instagram. Then here we're going to change the icon here to FA Instagram, and we're going to change the hover color to BG pink 600. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our 3 socials icons with beautiful hover effect. Awesome. It looks exactly like this one. Then we have this addresses section. So after completing the first part, we have our second part. That's it. And here we first have a div with class name of in larger screen, image will be auto. That's it. Now inside this div we have a h1 with the text address, and this h1 have a class name of text large, font bold, text white, and if I hit save and go to our project, so this is the address. Then after this h1 we have another div with class name of margin top of 8, and inside this div we have address first. So here we have a div with class name of flex, item center, and space x5. That's it. And then inside this div we have a fa paper plain icon, and this one will have a class name of width 5, height 5, text white. That's it. And then we have a p tag with the address, so I'm just going to copy it from here. This is just a dummy address, so paste it here. And this a p tag have a class name of font medium and text small and text white. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have this address, city, and New York. So after the USA, we're going to add a break tag. So now if I hit save, now it looks good, exactly like this one. Awesome. Next, after this address, we have the phone number. So I'm going to copy it and paste it underneath. And this one is phone. Here I'm going to change the icon. So this one will be FA phone from React icon. And I'm going to add a dummy phone number here. So let's say this is the demo phone number. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have the phone number, but we need to add some margin at the top. So I'm going to add a margin bottom of 5 and margin top of 5. So now if I hit save and go to our project, now it looks good, exactly like this one. And next we have the email. So I'm going to copy it again, and this one is email. So I'm going to change the icon here. I'm going to use IO mail open, and here I'm going to add the mail of example @gmail.com. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so this is our email address. Now this looks exactly like this one. Awesome. Next we have this more services section. So our second part is complete. Then we have our third part, and here we are going to have a div with class name of, in a larger string, image will be auto, and inside this I'm going to copy the h1 from our second part, and I'm going to paste it here and change the h1 title here to more services. That's it. And then we have a div with class name of margin top of 8, and then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex item center, and margin bottom will be 2. Then inside this div we have a icon which is md keyboard doubler double arrow right, this one. And here we're going to add some class name of width 7, height 7, text white. So now if I hit save, and after this we have a p tag with the text UI design. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have UI design, but we need to add some class name to our p tag. So the class name will be font medium, text small, text will be white. And now if I hit save and go to our project, so now it looks good, exactly like this one. So we have 4 more. So I'm going to copy this div four more time, and I'm going to change the title here. The second one is UX design. Then we have web app. Then we have digital marketing, and then we have video editing. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so we have these more services: UI design, UX design, web app, digital marketing, and video editing. So just like this one. Awesome. Next we have this fourth part. So we completed the third part, and then we have the fourth part, and here we have a div with class name of MX Auto, and inside it we have a h1 with class name of, so the class name is similar to this one, so I'm going to copy it from here and I'm going to paste it here. And this h1, the text will be news later. That's it. Then after this h1 we have a div with class name of on top of 8, and then inside we have a p tag with class name of font medium, text small, text white, and the text content I'm going to copy it from here. So let's copy this and paste it here. So hit save. So now it looks good. Next, after this p tag, we have another div with class name of margin top of 5, flex, item center, SpaceX 4. Now inside this I'm going to add a image from next image, and then the source will be slash images slash f.png, f.jpg. Then we have an alt of image, and then the width will be 80, and then the height will be 25, and I'm going to hit save. So now if I go to our project, so here you can see we have our image. Awesome. So after the image we have another div with class name of flex1, and then inside this div we have another div with class name of flex item center, and then inside this div we have a bi calendar icon from React icon, and this icon have a class name of text ember 300, width 6, height 6, margin right 2, and then we have a p tag with the date 25 October 2025. Let's say 26. And this p tag have a class name of text white, text small, font semi-bold. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our 25 October 2016, exactly like this one. Next we have this text, so I'm going to copy it from here. Then the p tag, we have a h1 with this text, and this h1 have a class name of margin top of 2, text white, font bold. Now if I hit save and go to our project, so this one will be, this h1 will be outside this div. So now if I hit save, now it looks good, exactly like this one. Awesome. So our top part is completed. We have to build the bottom part. So I'm going to copy the text from here, and then after completing the top part, so this is the top part. So after completing the top part, we're going to build our bottom part, and here I'm going to use a div with class name of border top 2, then width will be 80%, image will be auto, then border will be gray 700, margin top 8, and then inside this we have a p tag with the copyright text, and the p tag have a class name of margin top of 8, text gray 300, and if I hit save and go to our project, so here we have our line and our copyright text. So our footer looks exactly like this one. Now let's check this in the dark mode. So if I click here, its background change and everything looks awesome. And let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and select a mobile device, and if I scroll, so you can see in mobile device everything fit perfectly. Let's check it in the iPad device. So in the iPad it also fit perfectly. So our footer section is completed. Next, we're going to build the scroll to top functionality. So if I show you the scroll to top button here, so here you can see we have a button, and if I click here, it will go to the top, and initially it's hidden, but when I start scrolling, it appears to the screen. And by clicking this, it will go to the top smoothly. Now we are going to implement this feature. So for that, I'm going to create a new folder, not folder, a new file inside the helper, and I'm going to name it scroll to top.css, and then I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and I'm going to add this in layout so that all the pages have access to this feature. So I'm going to add here the scroll to top and hit save. Now let's go to the scroll to top. So first I'm going to convert this into a client component using use client, and then here I'm going to first create a state variable called is visible and set is visible, and this one will be, I'm going to use the use state hooks here, and initially the visibility will be false. Then I'm going to use the use effect hooks and empty dependency array, and inside this I'm going to create a function called toggle visibility, and this function we're going to check if window dot scroll in the y, if it is greater than 300, then we're going to set is visibility is visible to true, else we're going to set is visible to false. That's it. Now Here in the window, we're going to add an event listener, and we're going to listen for the scroll event. So when we scroll, we're going to call our toggle visibility. That's it. And then we're going to clean up our function. So return window dot remove event listener, listen for the scroll event, and I'm going to use toggle visibility. That's it. So this is our show and hide functionality. Then I'm going to create another function called scroll to top. This function will responsible for go to the top. So here in this function we're going to use window dot scroll to. So we're going to scroll to top, and then the behavior we want here is smooth. That's it. Next, here this div we're going to add a class name of fixed bottom 4 animate will be false, then right will be 4. That's it. Then inside this div we're going to check if is visible is true, then we're going to show a button, and this button will have a class name of bgblue700 cursor pointer text wide rounded full width 12 height 12 flex item center justify center, and the focus outline none. That's it. And when we click on this button in the on click, we're going to call our scroll to top functionality. Then inside this button we're going to add a arrow up icon. That's it. Now let's go to our project. So here you can see we already have our buttons. If I click here, it go to the top, and initially you can see it's hidden, but as soon as I start scrolling and pass the 90 pixel limit, not the 90 pixel, we use 300 pixel limit, the button show up to the screen, and by clicking this it will go to the top. So in the dark mode it also active, so it looks amazing. So the functionality works properly. So our scroll to top functionality is completed. Next, we are going to implement scroll animation in our project to make our project more attractive. So if I show you the deployed version, so if I reload the page here, you can see we have animation, and if I start scrolling, you will see we have scroll animation in our project, which makes our project more attractive and professional. So now we are going to implement this scroll animation. For the scroll animation, we're going to use a npm package. The package we're going to use is called AOS, Animation on Scroll. It is a very easy and popular library to add scroll animation in Next.js or any project. So this is their GitHub page. So if I scroll down, you can see they have different types of animation: fade, fade right, fade left. They have the flip animation, they have the zoom animation. So the best thing is you just need to add this data AOS to your div that you want to animate in the scroll, and it will automatically detect the element, and when the element will be in the view, it will apply this animation to that element. So it's very easy to implement, and you have also some different settings that you can apply to it. You can read more about by going their GitHub page and read their documentation. So for now I'm just So if you want, you can read more. So first I'm going to install this package. So I'm going to copy their installation command. So copy this and I'm going to paste it here and hit enter. And we're going to configure our AOS in our home.tsx. And we already marked this as a use client because we need to make it client component to use AOS. Then after the installation, we need to import this two line AOS and the CSS. So I'm going to paste it here, and then if I hover here, you can see it could not find the declaration file. So we need to install the type files also. So I'm going to copy this script from here and paste it here to install the type definition for AOS. And next, inside this, I'm going to configure our AOS. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a use effect hooks here and with an empty dependency array, and inside this I'm going to create a function called init AOS, and this one will be an async function, and then inside this I'm going to await import and AOS. That's it. And then I'm going to use AOS dot init, and then we have the duration will be 1000 millisecond to 1 second. Easing will be is, then the ones will be true, and anchor placement will be top bottom. And then after this we're going to call our init AOS function. So that's it. This is our configuration. Next we are going to apply the animation. First let's go to the hero.tsx. So in the hero.tsx, first we're going to apply the animation to our this step, to welcome to WebDev warriors in this step. So here I'm going to apply a data-AOS, and we're going to use fade down here, not the capital letter. Data-AOS will be fade down. That's it. Next we're going to copy this and we're going to apply this to our H1 here, and this one we're going to use fade up. We're also going to use another property which is data-AOS-delay. So we want some delays. First we want the previous text appear, and then after some delay this text appear. That will look much better. So we're going to add a delay of 200 milliseconds for this H1. Next we're going to add animation to our p text. I'm going to copy this and we're going to add animation here, and this one will be fade out, and we're going to change the delay to 200 to 400. That's it. Next we are going to add animations. I'm going to copy this animation to our buttons. So here we're going to paste our codes, and here this one will fade up and the delay will be 600 milliseconds. That's it. Now if I save the file and if I go to our project, if I reload the page, you can see we have our animation. So it's stuck because we're in the development, but you can see in deployment it it has this smooth behavior. So here if I reload, you can see we have our animation. So it happens because of the particle. We use the heavy particles here. That's why it gets stuck in the development. So our animation works properly here. Next, we are going to apply animation to our about section. So I'm going to copy this two line from here. Let's go to the about.tsx. So about.tsx, and here first we're going to add the animation to our image div. So this one. So data-aos will be fade up. So we are going to use fade right here, and here we do not need the data aos. Here I'm going to add a data-aos anchor placement. So we're going to add anchor placement here. For this one we're going to use top center. That's it. And so this one will be fade left actually. So fade left, and data aos anchor placement will be top center. Next I'm going to copy this too, and then we're going to add this to our text content div, and this one will be fade right, and data aos anchor placement will be top center, and data dash aos dash delay will be 200 milliseconds. So now if I hit save and go to our project, so if I reload the page, we have our initial animation. If I start scrolling, we have our about section animation. Awesome. Let me show you again. So we have our initial animation, and then we have our about section animation. Awesome. Next we are going to add animation to our services section. So I'm going to copy these three lines from here. Then let's go to the services.tsx, and here we're going to add the animation to the service cards. I'm going to paste it here, and for the first one we're going to use fade up, and the anchor placement will be top center, and for the first one the delay will be 0. You can also remove this line, but I'm just keeping 0 here. That's it. Now I'm going to copy this three line. For the second one we're going to use the same fade up and anchor placement top center, but this time the delay will be 100 millisecond. Then for the next one the delay will be changed to 200, then 300, then 400, and finally for the last one the delay will be 500. Now if I hit save and go to our project, and if I reload the page, so we have our initial animation, then we have our about animation, and then we have our services section animation. Awesome. Next we are going to add animation to our y2 section. So I'm going to copy this three line from here, and let's go to the y2 section, and here first we are going to add the animation to our text content. Here this one will be fade left, the anchor placement will be top center, and the delay will be 0 for the first one. Then we're going to add the animation to our image. So I'm going to copy this three line from here, and let's go down here. This is the image div, and this one the animation will be fade right top center, and the delay will be 100 millisecond. That's it. Now if I hit save and go to our project, let's reload the page. So we have our initial animation, then the about section, then the services section, then the y2 section. Awesome. Next we are going to add animation to our pricing section. So let's go to our code. I'm going to copy this 3 line from here. Let's go to the price.tsx. So this one, price.tsx, and for the first card I'm going to paste the code. If you want, you can try different animation like the flip animation, zoom in, zoom out, and anything you want. So in the price section, I'm going to use the fade right. The placement will be top center, and delay for the first one will be 0. So I'm going to copy this. For the second one, we're just going to change the delay. So this one will be 100. Then for this one will be, so inside this date, this one will be 200. This one will be 300. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, so we have our initial animation. If I start scrolling, about section animation, then we have our services section animation, then we have why choose section animation, then we have our price section animation. Awesome. Next, we are going to add animation to our booking section. We're not going to add any animation to our client review. So next, we're going to add animation to our booking section. So I'm going to copy this 3 line from here. Let's go to the order.tsx, and here at the top div, I'm going to add the animation. So here I'm going to use zoom in. So zoom in, and the anchor placement will be top center, and delay will be 0. So now if I hit save and go to our project, if I reload the page, so initial animation, then we have our about animation, then we have the services animation, why choose animation, then the pricing animation, and finally we have our booking animation. Awesome. It looks amazing. Next, we are going to add animation to our contact section. So let's copy these 3 lines from here, then go to the contact.tsx, and here we are going to add the animation to this image only. So I'm going to paste the code here. Sorry. And this one will be zoom in, and anchor placement will be top center, and that delay will be 0. And we're not going to add animation to the other properties. If you want, you can add. So now if I go to our project, if I reload the page, and we have the initial animation, we have about animation, we have services animation, then we have why choose section animation, pricing animation, or booking animation, and finally this contact section animation. Awesome. So everything looks perfect, and now you have the understanding how you can add animation. Now you can create your own different types of animation using the flip animation, zoom in animation, zoom out animation, and all of this. So now our project looks more attractive and more professional. So our scroll animation functionality is completed. Now we completed all our features and functionality. Our website looks amazing. Now we need to deploy this in the live server. So for the deployment, we are going to use Vercel. So before we deploy our project in Vercel, we need to deploy our project in GitHub or push our project in GitHub. So first I'm going to push our project to GitHub. So I'm going to open my GitHub account, and here I'm going to add a new repository, and I'm going to name it Web Agency YT, and I'm going to make it a private repository and create repository. So it created a repository in our GitHub. Now let's go to the code here. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to make it. I'm going to stop the terminal from running. And here, first I need to use git init, then git add dot, then git commit, and a message. Let's say first commit, and hit enter. So we done these three command. Next we have git branch dash m main. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Next we need to add the remote origin. So copy this and paste it here to add the remote origin. And then we're going to push our project using git push dash u origin main. Now I'm going to hit enter. So this will push our project to the GitHub. So it's completed. Now if I go to our GitHub and reload the page, here you can see we have our project in our GitHub. Awesome. Next, let's open the Vercel. If you don't have any account, you can create one for free in the Vercel. So this is my dashboard here. And in the dashboard, I'm going to click here to add new project. And I already connected my gate. That's why our web agency YT come to this place. So I'm going to import it, and then I'm going to name it web agency YT 2025. You can name it anything you want, and then I'm going to click here to deploy. So the deployment started. Let's wait some time to complete the deployment. The deployment completed. Now I'm going to click here to continue to dashboard. And now here we have a link. So if I click here, it will open our project in live server. So this is in the live server, not in the localhost. And my system preference is dark. That's why our website open in the dark mode. But you can change it to light mode by toggling this. Awesome. So let's check if everything works properly or not in the deployed version. So if I reload the page, we have our animation. So if I start scrolling, we have our scroll animation, and every section looks amazing. So we have the pricing section, our slider works properly. We have our booking section, our contact section, and everything. If I click here, it will go to the top. It works properly. Our dark mode, light mode functionality also works properly. So everything looks amazing. Let's check the responsiveness. So if I inspect and if I click here, it will open the sidebar. It also works properly, and our mobile view also looks amazing in our deployed version. That means our project is fully working in the live server also. So now you have a link that you can share with others to show your expertise. You can send it to your potential client to show that you have knowledge about Next.js. You can add it to your resume if you want, and you can um, add this project to your portfolio also. So now our project is fully completed. If you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel for more interesting web development content. So that's it for today. Thank you so much.